Now at 9, fallen but not forgotten. A traveling memorial for officers killed in the line of duty stops in the 4 states.
Intel officials are zeroing in on Russia as the main threat to the upcoming presidential election. I'm Mike Emanuel in Washington. I'll have the details coming up.
Plus, the truth behind a recent campaign mailer that claims some Missouri lawmakers voted for free health care for illegal immigrants.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. Beyond the Call of Duty is a traveling memorial that pays tribute to fallen officers across the country. It made a stop today at the Joplin Police Department and features images of Officer Jake Reed and Corporal Ben Cooper. The memorial also features Carthage High School graduate Officer Lane Burns, who died in the line of duty in 2022 as a Bonne Terre, Missouri police officer.
When there is a loss, initially there's a huge outpouring of support. And over a little bit of time, some of that kind of dwindles away. And all the while, the families, friends and families, their lives changed forever that day.
Allison McCarter says they created the traveling memorial so that people all over the country hear fallen officers' stories, see their faces, and support their families. The entire annual trip is 23,000 miles. Authorities arrest a deputy school resource officer in Newton County for domestic assault. Neosho police responded to the report over the weekend. They arrested this man, Joseph Childers, an SRO for the Diamond School District and Newton County deputy. Childers has been charged with second-degree domestic assault. He's currently being held in the McDonald County Jail without bond. Meteorologist Lindsay Gaffney joins us now with a first look at weather.
Well, temperatures out in Joplin about 86, but it still feels like it's in the lower 90s. Humidity is starting to creep up as we move into the overnight hours and winds are dying down. They do pick up again tomorrow morning. We'll see wind gusts up to about 30 miles per hour, which may help a little bit with the temperatures. A nice, brief relief, but unfortunately temperatures are going to continue to be extremely high, dangerous high temperatures. 86 in Joplin right now, 87 in Oswego, still 90 out in Neodesha and Sedan, 91 in Yates Center, 84 in Monette. Not too bad out there. We are cooling down, but unfortunately with the temperatures, the extreme heat, we've got excessive heat warning for most of our counties and still heat advisories for a few of our southern counties as well. I'll have more details in just a bit.
All right, thanks, Lindsay. With election authorities already preparing for August and November elections, they're looking to find workers to help staff the polls. KOAM's Samantha Walker has more on how Oklahoma hopes an increase in pay will bring out more workers.
With November 5th fast approaching, local election officials are hoping to find enough workers to staff the polls. Oklahoma state law requires each voting precinct to have at least 3 workers ready to fulfill the roles of an inspector, a judge, and a clerk. An inspector is the primary officer of a precinct election board. A judge helps to check the proof of identity of each voter, while a clerk issues ballots. Without each of these roles filled, a precinct is not allowed to open, and staffing has become an issue as workers retire from participating.
A lot of our poll workers are older because they're retired, so they have the time that they can volunteer. And as those workers age out, then we definitely would need some new poll workers.
But a bill passed in 2023 hopes to change that for Oklahoma precincts. Now poll worker pay is being doubled, with roles like election judges being paid $200 rather than $100. Election officials say they hope the increase will help with poll worker recruitment and retention. Staff at the Ottawa County Election Board say they are already seeing the results.
I've had several of my poll workers say that the increase in pay is definitely keeping them around. But I've had more people volunteer to be a poll worker, so I do think it'll help with recruiting.
You don't have to have any previous experience to be a precinct worker. You just have to participate in a mandatory training. Poll workers work in the county where they are registered to vote. Reporting in Ottawa County, Samantha Walker, KOAM News.
You can learn more about how to sign up to be a poll worker on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Well, a recent mailer sent out to people across Missouri targets lawmakers who voted in favor of a Senate bill. Now, the legislation is intended to help get cheaper medications in rural areas, but the mailer claims it will do something completely different. Hayden Savage breaks down what the legislation really means.
Well, it's that time of year here in Missouri. It's election season, meaning many of us will receive calls, texts, emails, and even mailers explaining why one candidate is better than the other. In a recent mailer, a political action committee said Senate Bill 751 provided health care benefits to undocumented immigrants. Instead, it supported the medical program 340B. Pharmacists I spoke to today are speaking out, telling me that is absolutely not true.
Federal program that was started in 1992 that requires drug manufacturers to provide discounted pricing on outpatient drugs.
340B has been catching the attention of many after a mailer went out to people across the state of Missouri. It claims Senate Bill 751 will give health care access to undocumented immigrants, or as the mailer shows, illegal immigrants. In a letter to the Missouri Hospital Association, the Ozarks Healthcare Foundation called the claim misleading and unfounded. Is there any truth to that at all?
Absolutely none.
Absolutely not. This is just a way for us to take care of our patients, to make sure they're able to afford their medications.
Katie Mahan, the 340B program manager for Ozarks Healthcare, says Senate Bill 751 is just meant to help get affordable drugs to rural areas.
Since 2020, when drug manufacturers started restricting 340B drug to those pharmacies, it left some of our patients without the ability to obtain 340B discounted drugs.
The legislation intends to make these manufacturers return to giving low-priced medicines to those rural areas.
We hope to see drug manufacturers start providing 340B drug to our local contract pharmacies.
Similar mailers got sent out across the state about multiple candidates. Representative Travis Smith, the center of this mailer, said there is no place for lies or false information in political races.
When people say things about you that just aren't true, especially with Senate Bill 751, we had to say something.
Well, coming up in Health Watch, a first of its kind colon cancer blood test. Why doctors expect it to be a game changer, but not a replacement for colonoscopies. The FDA approves a first-of-its-kind blood test for colon cancer. The Shield test is approved for screening in adults 45 and older who have an average risk of colon cancer. It looks for DNA fragments from tumor cells and precancerous growths with an 83% accuracy rate in clinical trials. According to the American Cancer Society, 53,000 people will die of colorectal cancer this year. Less than 60% follow screening guidelines.
Any step that we can do to make an early diagnosis to bring more people to screening for colon cancer is a step in the right direction.
Now, doctors warn this non-invasive test is not a replacement for colonoscopies and cannot detect polyps. Any positive test would then require a colonoscopy. Well, it could be a new stage in the fight against Alzheimer's. A new study says a combination of two simple blood tests can catch 90% of early dementia cases. Nearly 7 million people in the U.S. and more than 32 million people worldwide suffer Alzheimer's. Well, July is Fibroid Awareness Month, a condition that affects a majority of U.S. women of reproductive age. Fibroids are tumors that grow in the wall of the uterus, and while most are non-cancerous, and some are even asymptomatic, those who suffer with fibroids can experience pain, prolonged heavy menstrual cycles, and even anemia. Experts say women should learn to recognize when something may be wrong.
If you can't go to work, if you can't go out with your friends, if you're nervous about too much bleeding when you go out, those can be red flags that something else is going on, and you should go to your doctor and get evaluated for fibroids.
Well, Harris poll finds 53% of women diagnosed with the condition reported being offered a life-altering hysterectomy. Only 20% were offered other, less invasive options. Experts say it's important women have informed conversations with their doctors that includes their life goals. Lindsay is next with a complete look at your forecast. And later, the Cardinals and Royals both make changes to their roster ahead of tomorrow's MLB trade deadline. John Dales has those stories and more later in sports.
Well, temperatures today got up to the mid-90s. It's pretty hot, and that's going to continue for the next couple of days. Taking a look outside downtown Joplin from the Cornell Arts and Entertainment Complex. It's mostly clear. We do have a nice southwesterly breeze, out there. A few clouds as well. Unfortunately, we don't get a lot of relief from the heat at night. Temperatures are going to be in the upper 70s, even reaching low 80s in the next couple of days. So it's going to be hot. We've got heat advisories for a few of our southern counties. That's due to heat indices getting up to about 108. And then in the hot pink, that is an excessive heat warning, which is the highest heat warning we can get. And that's due to heat indices getting up to 112 degrees in most of those areas. And this is going to be from today all the way through Thursday. Our hottest days on the forecast are going to be Tuesday and Wednesday, so they are set as an alert day just due to the high heat and high humidity. So pairing those two together, we get heat index values up to 105 out in Joplin tomorrow, 107 in Pittsburgh, 108 in Independence. And like I said, some of these could get even higher, up to 110 in some of these areas. This is just the forecast. Some of the counties out in the eastern counties, 102 in Aurora, 102 in Cassville. Not as bad. This is what the temperatures feel like. This is what it's going to feel like. But the actual temperature tomorrow, getting up to about 99 out in Joplin, 100 in Stockton, 100 in Miami, Grove, Veneta, Welsh, 101 in Newata, 102 in Independence and Sedan. So most of our counties are either 99 or 100, 101 degrees in most of these areas. Again, Monette, Cassville, about 96, not as bad. But this is just the beginning. Again, Tuesday and Wednesday are going to be the hottest days. So with our high being about 99, high humidity above 40%, it's going to be hot and muggy. Heat index values possibly getting up to 112 in some of those areas. Like I said, we do have that southwesterly breeze gusting up to about 25, 30 miles per hour, which may help a little bit. But with that heat, the heat wave we've got due to the ridge over our area, it's really not going to feel that great for the next couple of days. We've got a couple of chances due to surface heating. A couple of chances of those pop-up thunderstorms in the afternoon every day this week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Wednesday, we also have a slight ridge or trough, forming in the area, which may affect us a little bit later Wednesday evening and into Thursday. So it's 9 p.m. We can see a few storms starting to pop up moving into our area, possibly overnight on Wednesday. We're going to keep an eye on that, but really our focus for the next couple of days is going to be the heat. So we've got an alert day set Tuesday and Wednesday. Temperatures getting up to 99 on Tuesday, 100 on Wednesday. The overnight low Wednesday night's only getting down to 80. So again, not a lot of overnight relief from the heat. It's going to be really hot, really muggy, high humidity for the next several days, starting to cool down by Friday.
That'll be nice for finally getting a cool down, because we're definitely not going to be getting it during the night. That's for sure.
Unfortunately, even the cool down, this weekend's only getting down to mid-90s. So we're in that August heat right about now. We got another month and then it'll be all over.
Yeah, I can't wait. All right, thanks. Well, even though the official start to Marian Days isn't until Thursday, it's already starting to look like a small city is growing inside of Carthage, Missouri. Every year, the annual Catholic Vietnamese celebration brings in tens of thousands of visitors to the Maple Leaf City. Guests the Carthage Chamber president says bring a big boost to the local economy.
They're getting a lot of their staples, obviously food and extension cords, things like that. So I really think that our businesses do a very good job at putting those things that they are, what they're always buying, up close.
Well, thousands of the visitors choose to camp. Even more stay in local hotels and Airbnbs. And tomorrow on KOAM News at 9, we meet a Carthage woman who opens her home to the cultural experience every year. Well, coming up, a safer dinner table.
The USDA wants to make your chicken safer. I'm Mather Rivera in Washington, and I've got the details coming up.
The USDA wants to make your chicken safer. Fox News correspondent Madeline Rivera has more from Washington.
Salmonella makes more than 1 million Americans sick every year, and now the feds are making a big push to bring that number down. The Agriculture Department announcing new proposed rules on Monday aimed at limiting salmonella in chicken and turkey, hoping to keep contaminated meat off store shelves.
We're going to be monitoring that. We're going to be monitoring that the process in the plant is under control.
The USDA is taking a two-pronged approach, proposing poultry companies keep salmonella levels under a certain threshold and also establish monitors to identify contamination throughout the slaughter and processing system. But with grocery stores still being hit hard by inflation, there are some concerns any new regulation could push prices even higher.
It is infuriating to go to the store week after week and see that a pound of chicken breasts that cost $5 last week was marked up to $6 this week.
The USDA says it will work with poultry companies to help mitigate the cost of the monitoring, but also say it's a small price to pay to protect against a deadly bacteria that causes more than 400 deaths every year.
There'll be a lot less possibility for me to get sick through consumption of poultry products, because now there is a system whereby if there is a potential for me to be exposed, that product should not be in commerce.
The CDC says about 1.3 million Americans get sick from salmonella each year, and about 170,000 of those are because of contaminated poultry. In Washington, Mather Rivera, Fox News.
The FDA says peppers, vegetables, and salsa sold under Freshshire Farms, Snow Fruit, and Supreme Produce brand names have been recalled due to possible listeria contamination. Now, these products were sold at multiple retailers, including Aldi, Kroger, and Walmart. It's part of a broader recall linked to Ohio-based Weir's Farm that started earlier this month with cucumbers. Deli meats have also been blamed for a recent listeria outbreak. Boar's Head has expanded its meat recalls to now include ready-to-eat liverwurst. The deli meat listeria outbreak has sickened more than 30 people. 2 people have died. We'll need a reminder to lock your car doors. You won't after seeing this. An adult black bear and its cub trashed a car in Connecticut after getting stuck inside. State Environmental Conservation Police opened the door finally, and the 2 bears ran off into the woods where a 3rd bear was waiting. But the car's interior, was not so fortunate. Ouch. Well, 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports is coming your way. The Missouri Treasurer's annual auction is underway. We take you there. Plus, cryptocurrency and whether it's good or bad for the country is becoming a topic on the campaign trail. Coming up, why former President Donald Trump wants the U.S. to be the crypto capital of the world.
Fox 14, proud partner of the Joplin.
You're watching the 4 states' most watched news.
This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. The Missouri Treasurer's annual auction is going on in Springfield. From family heirlooms to coins and sports memorabilia, it all goes to the highest bidder. Chris Bryant takes us there.
The Missouri State Treasurer is holding an unclaimed property auction here in Springfield. Today was the first day with jewelry, watches, items of that sort, and it continues into tomorrow with coins and currency.
There's a lot of heirlooms from a lot of families. They were the things that they held very preciously. That's why they had them in safe deposit boxes.
So how did the forgotten items in the safe deposit box end up for auction in Springfield?
The bank has to keep those safe deposit boxes for at least 5 years before they'll break it open and then send the contents to the Treasurer's office. Once we have the contents, we try to look for the owners, and after keeping those contents for about 5 years, then we'll put them out for auction.
Each year, the Treasurer's office receives the contents of about 1,000 safe deposit boxes.
The Treasurer's office is all about giving back, whether we give back in good returns by investing the state funds wisely, or it is giving back the unclaimed money in people's pocket. And we have broken record in the last 2 years. The first year I took office, we returned about $52 million, and I broke that record this year by returning about $57 million.
Last year, the office returned about $52 million. This year, it's up to around $57 million. While there seems to be more and more available each year, the money from the items sold goes back into an account with the original safe deposit box owner's name so they can get the money for the items sold.
So I can tell you, last year we had the auction in Cape Girardeau. We have about 2,100 lots. This year we have 3,800 lots, which is almost double of what we had last year in Cape Girardeau. Last year we got about $205,000 from the auction. So I'm hoping this year it will definitely be close to $350,000 or so.
The Missouri State Treasurer's Office says it has about $1 billion worth of unclaimed property.
With less than 100 days until Election Day, Donald Trump is trying to appeal to a different group of voters, crypto fans. And while speaking at the Bitcoin conference in Nashville over the weekend, the former president promised to make the United States the leading crypto country if reelected. Trump promised not to sell any of the government's current Bitcoin holdings and told others to hold on to theirs too. Crypto stocks rose Monday morning, but then dipped back down, highlighting the volatile nature of the digital currency. Still, experts believe Trump supporting crypto is ultimately beneficial. Well, new information reveals local police first noticed the gunman who tried to assassinate former President Donald Trump more than an hour and a half before his attack. Text messages obtained from local police snipers by Iowa Senator Chuck Grassley show one of the officers noticed Thomas Crooks at a nearby picnic table just before 4:30 in the afternoon. An hour later, another officer sends a picture of Crooks in a group text saying he was using a rangefinder pointed at the stage where Trump was set to speak. Just after 6 p.m., the gunman was able to fire several shots minutes into Trump's speech. Well, Russia is once again making a play to subvert American democracy. This is the word from the director of the National Intelligence. Fox News Chief Washington correspondent Mike Emanuel has more from Washington.
The presidential election is less than 100 days away, and the intelligence community is ramping up its efforts to make sure folks get to the polls without being influenced by America's adversaries. The director of national intelligence is focused on threats from the big three: Russia, China, and Iran. At this point, it doesn't look like China's making a big effort to influence the election, and Iran is more focused on fueling broader distrust in America's government institutions. But Russia is working overtime, using a broad stable of influencers to hide its hand while creating online content that undermines confidence in both candidates, creating hostility between the two sides.
We have seen a number of Russian, not just attempts, but we've seen outright Russian interference in elections all throughout the region and all throughout the world.
U.S. intelligence agencies are now devoting significant resources toward combating online misinformation being spread by Moscow, highlighting two key tactics: the outsourcing of propaganda to content creators and the use of thousands of fake accounts to make their influence narratives look real. Some lawmakers now calling for greater regulation to help stop those campaigns before the election.
What guardrails can we put to make sure nefarious operations don't intervene and basically screw up the whole system? And that's what we're afraid of.
Officials say they saw a big uptick in those foreign misinformation campaigns following the shooting of former President Trump. In Washington, Mike Emanuel, Fox News.
Well, in Venezuela, a disputed election has major implications for the U.S. Authoritarian President Nicolas Maduro is claiming victory in yesterday's presidential election, but his opponent says he won. Fighting broke out near some polling stations yesterday. On Maduro's watch, Venezuela's economy imploded. And though it has the world's largest oil reserves, nearly 70% of people there live in poverty. Well, coming up later, a Bourbon County nonprofit addresses the issue of food insecurity with a hefty grant.
For the arts.
It's been hot today, and unfortunately we don't get a lot of overnight relief from the heat, with temperatures still remaining in the upper 70s, even reaching 80. Taking a look outside downtown Joplin from the Cornell Arts and Entertainment Complex. It's looking pretty good out there. We do have a few clouds moving in and a nice breeze as well, but like I said, it's going to be pretty hot for the next several days. We've got a few clouds moving on out of here. Overall, we're going to remain mostly dry tonight. We do have the chance, due to surface heating over the next couple of days, some pop-up thunderstorms in the afternoon. That's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. But the heat advisory and excessive heat warnings are just all the way through Thursday. So most of us are in that excessive heat warning. That's that hot pink color. Every county in Kansas and Oklahoma are in the excessive heat warning due to high humidity, high temperatures, and high heat index values all the way up to about 112. This is for Tuesday and Wednesday. And then we've also got that heat advisory for a few of our southern counties, and that extends all the way through Thursday due to high heat index values getting up to about 108. We'll go ahead and look. Tomorrow, it's forecasted possibly reaching 105 out in Joplin, 106 Baxter Springs, 107 Yates Center, Fredonia, Sedan, Chanute, 108 in Independence and Nowata. Now this is just a forecasted, could get higher, especially with the humidity values staying above 50% even during the hottest part of the day. So we're likely going to see some pretty high heat index values along with these high temperatures. Tomorrow, Joplin getting up to about 99 degrees, Pittsburgh 98, but the rest of the counties, nearly all counties out in Kansas and Oklahoma are going to be 100 or above for the actual temperature. So tomorrow it's going to get really hot. Our main focus for the heat is going to be Tuesday and Wednesday. We do have we do have alert day set for Tuesday and Wednesday due to the high temperatures. So tomorrow planned for about 99, even above that, and especially the counties out in the west. Hot and muggy, heat index values up to 112. We do have a southwesterly breeze. It's from the south, so we're still getting that hot air, but a nice breeze, 25, 30 miles per hour gusts may be a little helpful. We're dealing with the heat wave because we've got a nice ridge forming over our area. But as we move into the week later on, we've got a slight trough forming. It's just a little mid-wave trough right there. And it moves over our area Wednesday evening. So you can see a few storms starting to pop up that'll be moving into the area overnight on Wednesday and possibly into Thursday. So we're going to keep an eye on that. But like I said, our main focus for the next couple of days, 99 as a high on Tuesday, 100 on Wednesday, only getting down to about 80 Wednesday night. So we do have those alert days set for Tuesday and Wednesday. Temperatures cool down slightly to the mid-90s by next weekend.
Well, those random storms are just going to feel good, I hope.
Well, and they're isolated. They're very isolated. So most of us won't even see a lot of the rainfall.
Maybe it'll spit on us.
Hopefully.
All right. Thanks, Lindsay. Well, coming up in sports, an update from today's action at the 2024 Olympics in Paris. Plus, the Royals and Cardinals both make moves ahead of tomorrow's MLB trade deadline. John Dales has those stories and more up next.
Joplin Schools free bus camp.
The 18 and under Patriots from Pittsburgh's Post 64 wrap up play in the Kansas American Legion State Championship this morning. The Patriots earned a spot in the title game after going 4-1 in tournament play, but Post 64 falls in the state title game 9-4 to Post 421 from Topeka. They're the only team that beat Pittsburgh in the tournament, and they do it twice. Post 64 Patriots wrap up the summer with a 17-12 record. They finished the AAA state tournament with wins over Chanute Post 70, Leavenworth Post 23, and Great Bend Post 180. The Major League Baseball trade deadline less than 24 hours away. Both the Cardinals and Royals make some big roster changes today. We'll start with the Cardinals. They make a big splash with a 3-team deal involving the Dodgers and White Sox. St. Louis receives Chicago right-handed pitcher Eric Fetty, along with former Cardinal outfielder Tommy Pham, who makes his return to St. Louis. All that the Redbirds had to give up in the deal is utility player Tommy Edman. His only at-bats in the 2024 season have been as a designated hitter in AA Springfield while rehabbing from a wrist injury after getting surgery in the offseason. Cardinals have a game tonight as well at home against the Rangers, but they lose 6-3 final score. The record since the All-Star break now falls to 4-6. They're back at Busch Stadium again tomorrow against Texas. Andres Palante picks up the loss on the mound tonight for the Redbirds. Meanwhile, over in the American League, the Royals lead the White Sox 8-5 in the top of the 8th inning. This has been a crazy game. Kansas City was leading 2-1, allowed 4 unanswered runs to score in the 5th through 7th, and the White Sox took a 5-2 lead. Then they've scored 6 runs in the 8th inning, highlighted by a grand slam from Bobby Witt Jr. Royals also make a move today ahead of tomorrow's deadline. Coincidentally, it's with the team the Cardinals lose to, Texas. Kansas City sends away left-handed pitcher Walter Pennington, who has only appeared in 1 major league game in his career. In return, they get Michael Lorenzen, 10-year veteran who has pitched for 5 different teams over the past 5 years. He has a 3.81 ERA with the Rangers this season, and he threw a no-hitter as a member of the Phillies last August. The 2024 Olympics officially began over the weekend with the opening ceremonies on Friday night. Plenty more action continues today in Paris. Here's a couple of highlights from today. Team USA women's basketball dominates Japan in its first game in the group stage. That's the 56th consecutive win for the Americans in Olympic play. U.S. men's gymnastics team medals for the first time since '08, winning bronze. On the beach volleyball court, former NBA basketball player Chase Budinger helps lead the U.S. to a win over France. American fencer Nick Itkin wins bronze, and then the U.S. women's rugby team advances to the semifinals with a win over Great Britain. That's what's so fun about the Olympics is, I just rolled right through them, but there's so many great stories on all the different sports that you can catch all those in just one day at the Olympics.
I know, it's fun because just pick a sport, something's happening.
Exactly, yeah.
For sure. Back to those trade deals. I feel like the Cards and the Royals got the better end of those deals.
Yeah, definitely. They're trying to get into the playoffs, so they're going to be getting the better players, maybe dealing out some prospects for those.
All right, thanks, John. Back with more news after this.
It's easy.
This is your news update. I'm Tanya Bach. With election authorities already preparing for August and November elections, they're looking to find workers to help staff the polls. KOAM's Samantha Walker has more on how Oklahoma hopes an increase in pay will bring out more workers.
With November 5th fast approaching, local election officials are hoping to find enough workers to staff the polls. Oklahoma state law requires each voting precinct to have at least 3 workers ready to fulfill the roles of an inspector, a judge, and a clerk. An inspector is the primary officer of a precinct election board. A judge helps to check the proof of identity of each voter, while a clerk issues ballots. Without each of these roles filled, a precinct is not allowed to open, and staffing has become an issue as workers retire from participating.
A lot of our poll workers are older because they're retired, so they have the time that they can volunteer. And as those workers age out, then we definitely would need some new poll workers.
But a bill passed in 2023 hopes to change that for Oklahoma precincts. Now poll worker pay is being doubled, with roles like election judges being paid $200 rather than $100. Election officials say they hope the increase will help with poll worker recruitment and retention. Staff at the Ottawa County Election Board say they are already seeing the results.
I've had several of my poll workers say that the increase in pay is definitely keeping them around. But I've had more people volunteer to be a poll worker. So I do think it'll help with recruiting.
You don't have to have any previous experience to be a precinct worker. You just have to participate in a mandatory training. Poll workers work in the county where they are registered to vote. Reporting in Ottawa County, Samantha Walker, KOAM News.
You can learn more about how to sign up to be a poll worker on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. We'll be right back. The Healthy Bourbon County Action Team received a grant to address food insecurity in Bourbon County. Now, the $55,000 grant will be given each year over the course of 3 years. KOAM's Melissa Alexis has more.
Because no one should be hungry or thirsty.
Lisa Robertson is a community health worker with the Healthy Bourbon County Action Team, who received a $55,000 grant to help with food insecurity in Bourbon County. She says the grant will allow them to do more to help those in need.
I have a backpack that I take around to individuals in the community, like on the hot days. My backpack will be filled with ice cold waters, and it'll be filled with snacks that we can give out to people that are just on the street and are thirsty and they just need that hydration.
The Healthy Bourbon County Action Team helps those in need with finding transportation, shelter, and food. She says they can't help the community without the help of grants like the one they received from the Kansas Food Action Network.
I just see big possibilities because our main goal is just helping individuals and just helping people. And with money makes things possible, because we don't always have access to money and funding to do what we want to do. And so having a grant given to us will be such a benefit to help this community.
The organization has fed 400 people in need since 2022, and the executive director, Rachel Carpenter, says this grant will help them meet the needs of the community, which is crucial considering the rates of poverty in Bourbon County.
The data for our health rankings, and 24% of our children are in poverty. And so that just plays a part into food insecurity. And there's many social determinants of health that surrounds food insecurity, whether it's transportation or access to food, or having someone have to choose between paying their medical bills and then paying for food for their table.
Carpenter says anyone can be susceptible to food insecurity.
We're just 1 to 2 paychecks away from being food insecure, really. But we at the Healthy Bourbon County Action Team, we have a population of focus, and that is the disabled and elderly and low-income residents and minority residents.
The Healthy Bourbon County Action Team is in the process of hosting meetings to figure out how to best use the grant to make a difference in the community. Reporting in Fort Scott, Melissa Alexis, KOAM News.
The organization is planning a food summit within the next year where residents of Bourbon County can voice their needs. Well, a pet spider turns into a little girl's nightmare in Sting. Still to come, we take a look at what's new in home entertainment. A legendary actor, a popular TV coach, and a trailblazing country artist are among the new digital DVD and music releases available to add to your home library. Fox's Ashley Dvorkin runs down the list of what's new in home entertainment.
The First Omen brings the scares to what's new in home entertainment. The horror prequel follows a young American woman traveling to Rome to become a nun, only to uncover an evil conspiracy. Hey there, little guy. A young girl fights for her family's survival when her pet spider, she's secretly raised, transforms into a giant monster in the horror film Sting.
It's like they're testing us. Our bodies. Our minds.
In the sci-fi thriller The Abandoned, a wounded soldier's physical and mental limits are tested after awakening in a strange cube, which he tries to escape.
You're William Shatner. You can call me Bill.
The documentary William Shatner, You Can Call Me Bill, features the legendary actor reflecting on his life and career. The German action thriller Run Lola Run gets a 4K Blu-ray edition release in honor of its 25th anniversary. The film centers on two star-crossed lovers who have only minutes to change the course of their lives.
You can't always get what you want.
Small screen favorites to own the complete series of the Apple TV Plus hit comedy Ted Lasso, starring Jason Sudeikis, Hannah Waddingham, Juno Temple, and Brett Goldstein. And the final season of the CBS drama So Help Me Todd, led by Skylar Astin and Marcia Gay Harden. For music fans, iconic rock band Smashing Pumpkins return with their 13th album, Agori Mori May. And trailblazing country artist Orville Peck's duets record Stampede features various artist collaborations, including legendary singer Willie Nelson and 8-time Grammy winner Beck. In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
That's our time for tonight. Thanks for joining us. We leave you with video of 2 elephants at the Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania Zoo celebrating their Sweet 16. Have a great night and an even better tomorrow.